Hello everyone, welcome back to PODBOX, brought to you by Kelab Penyiaran dan Penerbitan PASUM. So if you could recognize me, I'm Juliana from the first episode of PASUM on Air, and today I am with another partner, a gentleman who is also a friend of mine, and his name is Izzat.
Hello everyone, my name is Izzat Aiman. Nice to meet you.
Alright, so today we're going to discuss a topic that is toxic relationship. So Izzat, do you want to start over?
Yes, toxic relationship. I think it's a pretty heavy topic today. So, we have relationships. All of us have relationships, whether it be friends or parents or lovers, even. So, some of them worked out and some of them don't, right? So, I have a series of questions for you, Ju. So, if you could answer yes or no.
Yeah, sure.
Alright. So, think of a friend in mind, right? Do you have one?
Yeah.
Alright. So, does she encourage you?
Yes.
Does she listen to you?
Yes, definitely.
Does she notice your habits or patterns?
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, do you feel satisfied with her?
Yeah, most of the time. Apparently, like it's like most of all of the time.
Most of the
whenever
time,
they- yeah.
So, you yourself got a very good friend, right? So, you're very lucky actually, because most of the time, or generally,
Mhm.
people they experience toxic relationships all over their life, right? So, what is actually a toxic relationship? So, generally, the signs are when you spend time together with them, you don't feel it's enjoyable anymore, and you feel drained or unhappy, and you do not look forward to meeting them. You just want to avoid them.
You will think twice before you
Yes.
picking up the calls, right?
Right.
And maybe some of the experiences of me being in a toxic relationship, probably we would get kind of possessive over time.
Alright.
If you're close enough with the person, eventually the relationship can get toxic if you are being obsessive or possessive. For example, you can't see when your friend are hanging out with other friends, then you
Yeah,
would feel
I
like
understand.
macam, you should hang out with me because you're my friend.
Yeah.
So then that is toxic. That is something that do come naturally sometimes, and it is also up to you if you notice that and you have to do something about it. So then, do you have any other experiences for
Yeah,
toxic
in a
relationship?
toxic relationship, I think it's one of the characteristics. Like if it's happening, then it's totally toxic. It's envy. So, for example, if you are receiving an award at school and you go up the stage, and then in the audiences there is this one person that does not feel happy at all, looking at a smiling face that day. They feel like you don't really deserve the award. They feel like they deserve the award. They are the best of everyone else. So that's one sign of a toxic person that will make any relationship that they are in also toxic, right?
Well, another way that maybe you can try to have a healthy relationship instead of the toxic one is that you came together and actually sit through the problems that you have. So if the person is a healthy one, if they are mature and you guys are both in the correct state of mind, then you guys can sit through have a small conversation.
Yeah.
And just talk through your problems, then try to fix the relationship and get better eventually. But if it's toxic, then the conversation would just be turned into a fight where you guys are just being ego and try to justify yourself, and both parties don't want to say sorry to one another. Then it is very dangerous for you to actually have a slow talk with the person. So then so it's very this step is very crucial actually for you to take in order to have a better relationship. But it also depends on how both of the parties handle the situation, and how mature are you to actually handle the issues and all. So other things about toxic relationship, probably if about commitment.
Yeah.
If you are not being sometimes one party can be too committed and the other party are not as committed as you are, then it's not toxic, but it's like it's more to a fake relationship, and you're just being fake to in your investment. And if you notice someone are being fake with their energy and time, and they don't attend to appointment as you as the time that you set and everything, then maybe it's best for you to find a better person.
It's like they don't give the same energy.
Yeah, they just don't radiate the same energy.
Yeah. And I think another characteristic of a toxic relationship is giving the silent treatment. So if you have a confrontation with your friends, which is a perfectly normal thing to do, it becomes toxic based on your reaction if a confrontation happens. So in a toxic relationship, usually you will keep it to yourself. In some scenarios, you keep it to yourself and it becomes toxic because you let the thing recurs every time. So it becomes, your relationships becomes hanging. So it doesn't get any better from there on. And
instead, a confrontation can be good.
Yes.
If it's make a relationship much better afterwards, but the confrontation can also be bad if you guys don't know how to handle it
yeah, that's
properly.
really
Yeah. And it is hard for first timer to confront, and there are many ways for you to confront, either by through WhatsApp or through face to face. It all depends on your level of comfortness with the other person. Just well, maybe we can try to give our listeners some ideas on how to avoid this toxic relationship.
Right. So before getting into this, I'd like to maybe advise us to be careful when before taking this steps to avoid a person, because you have to closely observe how the person goes about his or her life, because sometimes maybe it's just on that day that she's maybe in a bad mood, so
having a rough day.
Yes, so she doesn't treat you the way you want her to treat you. So you think, oh, she's toxic, I'm gonna avoid her. So before doing any of that, please observe her very closely and see that if the toxic character recurs, so then maybe you can try these steps that I'm going to share. So first one is a preventive measure. So it's to surround yourself with the right people, so that to distance emotional drainers. So what do I mean is, it is very important to surround yourself with the right people, because you are affected by the one that you surround yourself with. In fact, in a study, it is shown that if you surround yourself with gloomy, depressed people, you will also become depressed like them. And if you befriend obese people, you will take up their lifestyle, their
Habits,
diet, their habits. Not necessarily obese. I'm not saying obese people are bad. It's just an example.
It's just a lifestyle. Yeah,
it's a lifestyle. So if you befriend someone with a bad lifestyle, you will adapt to you will adapt their lifestyle, and you will become as bad as them, right? So that's why you have to surround yourself with the right people. And then by surrounding yourself with the right people, you can distance yourself from emotional drainers. So what do I mean is, if you surround yourself, or you hang out with people that makes you feel tired, makes you feel drained, makes you feel not yourself, you will feel drained. Why? Because you try to be another person that is not you. You are actively creating a persona, and that is very hard to do. You have to fake everything about you. You have to fake about your favorite, songs and all.
Yeah, basically just making up your fake character.
Yeah.
Every time you meet the person, you have to be somebody else.
Yeah, so you're inventing a new person.
Yeah. So in the end, this leads us to the third point, which is know what you need, not what you want. So you have to stay in a relationship that is necessary for you, that give out a positive, that brings the positive side of you. And don't stay in a relationship where you have to be somebody else and not being true to yourself.
Yeah.
In a way, you're not just being fake to them, you are also being fake to yourself. So you have to know which relationship is beneficial for you and which is not. So the other one would be try to be transparent and try to be brave enough if you feel uncomfortable in a conversation or in a relationship, or if they make jokes that are not that is not funny for you but it's funny for them, then you have to maybe if you're not comfortable to speak out at the right time at that moment, maybe after a certain time, after the whole situation ended, maybe you can talk through about it and try to be brave and tell them that you're not okay with it, and that thing is not a funny thing to do and all. And then if the person is a wise friend, is a good friend for you, then that thing will not occur again. But if the person is not the one for you, they will just take it slightly and brush it over, and that thing will happen some other time. So it's important for you to speak out yourself, and saying no is very important. And this is easy to say, but it's very hard for people to do so. But you can try to practice it slowly, and if it's not up to your capacity, maybe you could just try to walk away. But instead of just disappearing from the other person's life, maybe you can just try to set things up and tell them one by one the reason why you want to have a break for a moment. And maybe if you guys are meant to be together, maybe you guys will get back together some other time.
So I think the main point or the main core of how to avoid a toxic relationship is to realize that confrontation is necessary, because when we talk about confrontation, people will view it in a negative view, because no one wants confrontation. Confrontation is bad, but in this case, in sustaining a relationship or in making a relationship better, it's actually necessary, because it's the place where you can actually talk about the problems and how to improve them, and be open about yourself, be transparent, as you said. So don't be afraid to confront.
Yeah, and communication is the key to any relationship.
Yes.
So all in all, I think we can all agree that friendship or any relationship in general, be it your family relationship or your love partners, is very important. It contributes, it plays a big role in terms of your mental health. So it's very important for you to selectively choose people who are the ones that have to stay in your life and the ones that are not necessary. Alright. So all in all, we can come to agree that relationship is very important in one's life, and it gives a big contribution to your mental health. So it is very crucial for you to determine who the right people in your life and who should stay and who should not stay in your life. And I think it is very important for you to be selective. Sometimes it can get selfish, but it is also for your own benefit.
Yes. So one thing that I would want our listeners to really get today is to realize that toxic relationship actually starts with a healthy one. Why? Because you need to actually get to know the person really well to start being toxic to them, to start being comfortable enough to be offensive to them and all, right? So with that being said, these tips and these signs of toxic relationships that we are sharing today it can come from yourself. This toxicity can develop both ways. It's not just the other person being toxic. Sometimes we don't realize we are being toxic. So it is important for us to notice this toxicity within ourselves and also within them, the other person or people. And that is all from us, Izzat and
Juliana.
Thank you for tuning in, and stay tuned for the next series, The Truth Behind I'm Fine.
Bye guys.
Bye.